Everybody, welcome back to part 18 of the pet adoption app. Here we are going to work on our controller. We're going to allow the user to create a pet. So create a pet, basically first instantiate a pet and create a pet and continue on adding it into the database. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on. So we are basically going to do a few actions in the controller. Okay, these are methods, right? So we're going to create a pets controller because we don't have one. We have a pets model, but we're going to create a pets controller now with the new action, the create action. These are the two ones we're going to be focused on in this part here, part 18A. So this is part 18A. And later on, we're going to work on the edit. Well, actually, no, we're going to work on the new create. And after that, please pause the video and have a quick look at this. So basically what we're going to do is basically the user is going to be, or in the home page or in the dashboard. Actually, the user is going to be in the dashboard. So dashboard. Okay, now don't worry about these things here, these little cards. So when the user clicks on add a pet, it's going to take the user to pets/new, like that. Okay, it's not going to work now because now we don't have one. And as soon as he clicks on add the pet, it's going to also run the create action, and it's going to take it to the pet ID. Let's say number 78 or whatever, the pet ID, and then it's going to show, it's going to be pet ID, and it's going to go edit. So you can complete the form and submit it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now, first of all, let's come back to Visual Studio Code and let's talk about this. I'm going to stop my server here and I'm going to do Rails G for generate controller, and we are going to call it pets, and we're going to add a few actions. The most important action, well, let's just do it step by step. First, it's the new action, and then it's the create action, and after that, it's the edit, the update action, update. Okay, so pets is a controller, the action is new, create, edit, update. What else? Let's new, create, edit, update, and yeah, that's all we need to do. We don't really need to do anything else. After that, we can add whatever actions we want to add, and we don't have to worry about that. We can add as many actions as we want, but for now, oh wait, do we have the show? We have the show because we need to show this publicly, like when it's gonna, some user who's not logged in, who cares? It's gonna be pets number 7, like that, and the user can see the pets, and that way the pet can be adopted by someone who is not necessarily an authenticated user, someone who's not logged in. Okay, so they can go to like pets/number 90 or whatever. Okay, so that's going to be the show page. Okay, the show for the page. All right, so I'll go through it one by one. Okay, also we want to do a no test framework, so --no -test framework. Okay, so this is going to create a controller with all these views, because each action, new, create, edit, update, show, these are all views as well, and they're also actions. It's an action, and inside that action we have methods, right? So I'm going to hit enter. So that should perfect. So it created. Look on the left side, it says in the app. If you click on the app, you're going to see the controllers. You're going to see a pets controller, and also, of course, the helpers and everything. That's not important for now. We don't need. We'll use the helpers, but don't worry about that. The views. If you click on the views, you'll see a pets folder. Inside, it's going to have every single action in the controller. It's going to show it as a view: create, edit, new, show, update. And of course, we can do this manually. But hey, why not do it like this? Because look, even our routes have also been modified. So if you go to config routes, you're going to notice that there's a bunch of getter methods, a bunch of getter URLs, okay, that we're going to change later on, but we don't have to worry about that for now. Please go to the controllers, click on pets controller. You're going to notice a couple of things. First things first, when you create a controller as a beginner, advanced, whatever, the first most important thing is to always remember, before action, authenticate user. If that user needs to be authenticated, of course, we have a controller, and you know what? I want to run the authenticate user all the time. I want to run the authenticate user every single time. Why? Because I want everyone to be authenticated, except for the show page. The show page, the users don't need to be authenticated. For the show page, the user can be someone from the internet who hasn't even created an account, okay? So there is no need for authentication. Authenticate user, that's from device, okay? Before action, authenticate user, that's from device, but it can also be used in Rails, obviously, for any method that you create. But again, let's just do that. We did that with the user. If you look at the user's controller, we said the same thing. The first important thing is before action authenticate user. Number 2, strong parameters. You go to Rails guides, you go to Command F, type in controller. You click here, action controller view, Command F again, type in strong parameters, and here are all your parameters. Remember, you get the params.require. Now params, that that's, you can dig deep down and figure it out, but params itself is actually a method. Params is a method in the Rails framework. It's actually, I think it goes as far, I think it's from Metal, okay? Yeah. So it's so come back to Visual Studio. Remember this, we did the same thing, a private method. This is the same exact thing. We're gonna do the same exact thing. Okay, so come to pets controller, before action, before underscore action. So before action, authenticate user. So authenticate underscore user. Okay, before action, authenticate user. And now we actually have to add an accept the show, because the show, like I said, guys, this is the action, but it's also a view, just like I showed you earlier. It's also a view, so people can go even from the internet, petadoption.com/pets/ number 88 for the ID / and then that's it. And that's it, no /. You'll just be like that. So it could be seen by everybody. It's like when you go to Airbnb and you look at an apartment, you don't necessarily own the apartment. It's not yours. You're not authenticated. You're not logged in, but you can see what apartments are available. So that's the show page. All right. Now over here, accept show. So you want to put accept show. That's so important. Accept. Okay, accept show. Okay, before action, authenticate user, accept show. Did I do this right? Yeah, that's correct. All right, so the next thing we need to do is strong parameters. Come down to the very last bottom part before the closing tag of the end and type in private, just like we did in the users, private. And in here, you want to do a method. And in that method, you want to call this pet underscore params. Okay, I'm going to call it pet params. That's what I want to call it. You can call it whatever, but it's good practice to make it, sort of like more meaningful. Okay, so if this was like the teacher controller, it would be the teacher params. All right, so here again, params params.require, and you want to pass in we want to pass in the model, which is the pet, and after that we want to say permit. So we have parameters. Again, this is a method from Metal. It's in the Rails framework. So params.require the pet, that's the model. Okay, and permit to allow for these, all the attributes inside. So we have a bunch of attributes. Come back to Sketch. I just want to go over these attributes again with you. So we have all these attributes here that we added, or you can just look at the table. Okay, your pets table should have it, all right? Yeah, so title, active video, is spade, has 1 transport cost, and description we are also going to add. We didn't call this description, guys. We called this pet description. Okay, we call this pet description. I don't know if you remember. We're going to use action text. Okay, and that's not stored in here, but we still need to mention it. Okay, we still need to mention it. All right, so we're gonna do the attribute title. We want to allow the user to if he's authenticated, to update title, to update the pet underscore description, and we want him to be able to update. And if you're wondering again where, just please, you can go to the pet model. You can just go to the pet model, click on the pet model, and you'll see it here, pet description, has rich text. We're using the has rich text. We're using the action text, okay? Action text table, just like active record, just like active storage, okay? So over here, we have the pet description, we have active, and we're gonna use this later on. It's like I just want to put it because it's nice to have it to be able to make a pet that's active or it's not active, but we're not gonna use it because it doesn't actually make any sense to have it, but I'm leaving it there, all right? And we can always remove it later, but let's just leave it. Pet is active, that's a Boolean, we'll leave it as is. We added the attribute, is spade. Okay, so we also need to add that. Okay, and then the has underscore one underscore transport underscore cost. Okay, I'm gonna make this a bit so I can get the maximum here. Has one transport cost. What else? We also have one of the most important things here, guys, is the category. Don't forget the category. When you come here to the sketch, we have a category that, okay, but the category is on its own, but it inside the pets table there's a category ID. So obviously the category owns the pets, not owns, but has many pets. Okay, so we need to get the category. We need to allow to update, and the category is in fact an array. It's going to be an array, so it's going to be like, dogs, cats, lizards, rabbits, guinea pigs, blah blah blah. We're going to add them later, but the category is going to be an array. So we need to put the category category underscore ID, like that. Oh, actually here, well, it's not an array. We'll just do it the same as we did everything else. Okay, so category ID is extremely important to put. So we're going to loop through the category ID in the view. All right, so we have that as well. What else do we need to do? We also need to do the costs, because we have nested attributes. Okay, but for now, I'm going to leave the costs alone, and we're going to get to that later, because to do things so that we don't complicate things, okay? But normally we're supposed to put the cost attribute. I'm going to leave that alone as is and come over here inside the new. But first of all, like I said, step number one before action authenticate the user except show. Or maybe you don't need this before action authenticate. Maybe it's a type of controller you don't need to authenticate the user. But that's very important. Step number one, think about that. Step number two, think about strong parameters. That's extremely important. You don't want everybody to be updating whatever fields they want, okay? Maybe you have like an admin, and then you have a user, and then you have a user with additional permissions or whatnot. So you just want to make sure here we authenticate the user first, okay? Accept the show page. Make sure you add strong parameters. These are the fields that they can update, all right? And the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the pet belongs to the user, okay? You want to make sure the pet, this is so important. This is even if it's about an article. If someone wants to edit an article, you have to make sure that that article belongs to the user who wants to edit it, okay? Because if you come here and sketch, so if I'm here and I am John, okay, and now John or Mike wants to edit this pet called Fluffy. Well, we need to make sure that Fluffy in his user ID is going to be Mike's ID, okay? That's what we need to make sure. So for that reason, we need to make sure that whoever is going to be editing a pet, okay, or just editing and updating a pet, right? Just like if you were into a rentals app and you want to grab an apartment and you say, hey, I want to edit this apartment, you won't be able to. You shouldn't, because you don't own the apartment. How do you find out? How do you know you don't own the apartment? Well, because in the apartments table, in the rooms table or the apartment table, your user ID doesn't match. So you won't be able to edit it. So we need to create a method here. And in that method, with that method, we're gonna say, I guess, like, maybe you can call it whatever you want. I'm gonna call it not underscore auth, okay, not auth, okay, and I'm gonna end that, okay. So make sure that there's but even so, after we do this, we can do whatever logic we want, but we need to actually create a variable first, okay. We need to create a variable, okay. We have to create a variable, because if we don't create a variable, it's gonna be very, very difficult it'll be very difficult to get the pet parameters by the ID from the pet table. You know what I mean? So it's going to be hard to just like. So let's just let's just try it anyway first. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do an if else state. Well, if, okay. So first of all, okay. So like if, for example, so if current underscore user, the current user who's logged in, dot ID. Let's get the dot ID. So current user dot ID. Take that ID of the user and compare it is equals to the pet table, okay, dot find, and then we want to pass in the parameters with the ID. So params and put the ID in there. So we can do that, right? So if the the current user who's logged in, okay, the current user, well, obviously, because it's the current user, okay, his ID or her ID is equal to the pet find params ID. This is valid, and then do this, else do that. Okay, so actually we say if it's not. Okay, if it's not. If current user is not, and we can say end here. So if it's not, redirect, redirect to, okay, so redirect to the current, no, just take them back to the root path, root_path. Take them to the root path and then give them an alert and say, hey, you don't have permission to do that. Flash notice, actually. Yeah, flash notice. Notice equals to you don't have permission to do this move, to edit this pet. Okay, so we can say something like this. All right, so we can say that. And here we're also saying if that, otherwise just let it go. If current user, else. So instead, hang on a second. So here it would be if else and. So else do nothing. So in that case, why don't we use the unless? Okay, why don't we use the unless? We can use the unless instead of doing this because this is just way too much code. But why don't we first, let's take it one step at a time. We know what we want here. If the current user is not equal to this, is not equal to the pet. If the current user ID is not equal to the pet, let me just quit this and I'm going to start it again. Okay, Postico. Going to open Postico again, and I just want you to just have a quick look here. I'm going to click on the tutorials, pet adoption development, and if you click on the pet, so if the current user is not equal, the current user ID is not equal to the user ID in the pets table. That's why we're saying. So let's just grab this. Okay, let's copy that and let's create another method so we don't have to like do this over and over again. So let's create another method here and call it set_pet, and inside this method, I'm going to call it a variable, call it pet equals to pet find params, actually, this is a mistake. Pet.find params ID, okay? And what, params, pet.find, yeah, this is right. Pet.find params ID. So now we can grab this variable, since it's a global variable, we can use it outside of the method. So we can grab this variable and say, hang on a second. Let's just, hey, look, this is where we are, okay? This is the method. So let's just say something like, okay, so, okay, redirect to root path. Okay, so always redirect to root path with alerts. Let's do alert. I don't think you have permission. I don't think you have permission to do this. Okay, so something like that, and then no, yeah, it's an alert. I don't think you have permission to do this unless. So always, basically, what this means is always do this. Every single time, do that all the time. That's the first thing you're gonna do, because chances are people are gonna try to edit it, unless. Okay, so we're gonna say unless current user. So now we can say unless current user ID. Okay, unless the current user ID, is equal to this one, pet dot ID. No, user ID. Would it be ID? Pet.id. No, that would be the pet ID. We want to see the user ID field in the pet table, because already we know this is the pet table now, because we already said go to the pet table, find params ID, which is the pet ID. So go to that pet ID and basically go to that pet ID. this one, like number 78, which is fluffy, and go all the way to the user ID and find if that user ID is equal to the current user ID. That's how you know. Okay, so I guess it'd be dot user ID. That's the name of the field, user underscore ID. Okay, I think that's right. So we don't need this here. Okay, so let's just, oops, yep, I'm just removing white space, remove that. So perfect, we have a method that says you're not authorized, a method that checks if the user is authorized or not, okay? A method that basically always executes redirect to root path and inform them this unless the current user is the owner of the pet, okay? So why, you're gonna say, why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing this because I'll tell you why. Because my logic here is I wanna be able to create, I wanna be able to edit, and I wanna be able to update my pet, okay? So I wanna make sure whoever is trying to edit or update a pet is the actual owner of the pet, okay? Now, I'm gonna just put this on the side. I'm gonna leave this in the back burner for now for just a moment, okay? Now, the set pet just tells me that, hey, go to the pet table, and it's just getting me a variable that says pet find params ID. That's just, we'll leave that for now too. Let's put these in the back burner for now, all right? So the first step, authenticate user, find out if the user needs to be authenticated, except show. Step 2, create strong parameters to allow the user to only update certain fields or whatever fields you want to allow them to update. Number 3, make sure you add the sensitive information here. You know, a pet doesn't belong to everybody. A pet belongs to a particular user. So I want to make sure that I have this method here that, hey, whatever happens, always deny everybody. Deny everybody unless that current user actually, the current user's ID is equals to the user ID in the pets table. Okay, so now that we did this, let's just move on to the next part. And the next part is going to be the meat and potatoes. The meat and potatoes, like, is the new and create. Okay, whenever something is created, like if you're going to create a pet, or if you're going to create an article, or if you're going to add an extra student to a classroom, whenever you're creating something, it first has to go through the instantiation process of new. Okay, so the instantiation process of new is basically giving you the opportunity to actually create something. So when the user is like in the pet adoption and then he is in pets, okay, pets / new, and that's what the action, that's what it means. Now don't click enter because it's not going to work in the pets new, and he clicks, like, let's say this button to create a pet. The minute he creates that, it's that data, before he even clicks it, just the fact that he's in pets new view, it means that the pets new action is being run. Okay, that's what it means, that the pets new action is actually running. Okay, and that's called instantiation, and that's why the view is pets new, and the route is the pets new. It's pets is the pets new, because it's the instantiation is running. And you're gonna say, what's instantiation? I'll tell you in a minute. So it's actually a getter method. You're getting stuff, you're getting information, you're getting extracting, like, just extracting information from where? From, because we're in the pets table. So we want to extract from the pets table because the whole point of this is to create a pet. I want to add a pet. So you want to come over here, and in the new, you want to actually, you want to create what we're going to do, create a bunch of variables. So we have the add pet. Okay, so add pet is equal to all the pets. Oh, well, no, it shouldn't be that. It should be the current user. First of all, the current user is logged in, because you can't create a pet if you're not logged in. You have to actually create an account. Yeah, so you have to, before action, authenticate user. That's what it means. That's why we can use the current user, not user, current user. So current underscore user. So so add pet is the current user dot pets. So go to the pets table dot build, and all that's doing is capturing, like, it's storing it in memory. It's storing it in memory. Like, the minute you are in pets new, you're literally not adding anything to the database. All you're doing is you're just capturing the current user. Go to the pets.build. So basically saying, go to this pets table here. You see the pets table? I don't know if you can see it. So go to this pets table and get me ID, title, active, video. Not get me, but capture it. It's just storing it in memory. That's all. And if you refresh the page, nothing happens. It's just you're capturing it. All right? That's instantiation. Don't forget it. Instantiation. It's called instantiate. Instantiate. So it's called like this. Instantiate. Instantiate. That's what it is. So that's what we need to do. But remember, okay, so let's just do that first. All right, let's just do that first. But I want to go over some important things. I just don't want you to get confused. Remember the category ID. The category ID, if you come to Sketch here, we said the category has a name. There's a field called a name. So there's an ID. So in reality, I named it. In reality, return to instance. In reality, I actually named this ID. I named it ID, but it's actually category underscore ID, and you can double check by just going to Postico and going back and clicking on the categories table, and you're going to notice here there is an ID. But in fact, this is in Rails, it's category ID. Okay, it's category ID. Okay, so this was the jewelry table, it would be the jewelry ID. If this was the students table, it would be the students ID. So this category ID is a table on its own, and the pet, and it owns the pet. One category, a category has many pets. Like the dogs category can have 5,000 pets in it because there's 5,000 dogs. So we actually need to get these categories because right now we're in the pets controller and we're dealing with a pets model. We're all about the pet. The category is just external table. It's an external table. So Rails is going to give you an error here because it's going to say, look, okay, I'm getting this. I'm going to get this. This is a get method. Instantiate is a get method. Always remember that. Never forget that. That will solve all your issues in the future. Instantiate is a get. You're getting info. Just think about it like this. You're getting information. So getting this information, that's going to be perfectly valid. It's going to be fine. Yeah, we're in the controller of the pet controller. We're dealing with a pet model. Great, no problem. But the problem is that categories we're not in the categories controller. So we actually need to do, and vice versa. If we're working on the categories controller right now, we would have to do what I'm about to do. And what I'm about to do is I'm about to grab all the categories. Okay, I'm going to say add category equals to, I'm just making a variable, let me call it categories, equals to category.all. So the category table, the category model, the category model.all. Okay, so the minute I'm inside the pet's new view, I'm going to run this new method, this def method is going to run. This action is going to run. And the minute it runs, we're good. It means the minute this runs, it means we're in that view, in the pet's new URL, that view. So now that we have all that, now we're going to create. That's just how it goes for all apps. Now we're going to create. So in order to create, we actually have to so in order to create something, we actually have to do the same thing that we did up in instantiation. We're going to say this. We're going to grab this variable here, add pet equals current user.pets build. And in order to feed the database, because we need to see the database, you're going to feed it because this is look, I'm going to do this. This is a post method, okay? Creating is a post method. It literally saves into the fields of the database. Okay, this is a get method. It just gets the information or parameters or the fields, get the information of the fields, sort of like set, ready, go, sort of like get set, get ready, like that, get set, get ready. Okay, and then this here is actually the go. This is the post when you're posting in the database. So And for that purpose over here, we actually need to pass the build. We need to pass a parameter, and that parameter is basically grabbing all of this. This would be perfectly valid if we just copied and pasted that. But why do we have to copy and paste that? We're just going to pass this method so that we don't have to copy and paste all of this. So we're going to come over here in the build and we're going to paste it in. So this variable here, the minute this creation runs, it's going to get this. It's going to create a variable like x equals 5. And then our situation is going to be the @pet is the x. It's like x equals 5. Well, the @pet is equals to the current user who's logged in. Go to the pets table, okay, and build, and then I want you to update or do whatever you want to do to those fields, the pet params, which is actually our method here. So it would have been just perfectly valid if I copied this here and I went here like that and pasted it, but no, you don't want to do that. So instead, just put pet params. That's all you need to do. Now, the minute this happens, this is not going to do anything. All this is doing is just creating a variable. So then what we want to do is we want to say if.save. So if else statement. So if blah 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 else end. Okay. So you want to do that. So if let's take this variable. So if @pet, so if @pet.save. So if @pet.save, do hallelujah, or whatever it is. So if @pet_save redirect, yeah. So we're like we're gonna do a redirect to what? Oh yeah, the edit. See, redirect to this action, to the edit. It needs to continue adding all the fields. Okay, so I'm here. I do a pets new. I click here. As soon as you click here, it's gonna run this creation method, and then it's gonna take you to edit like that. Create is in the back end, and that's why create is happening in the back end. Like it's in like behind the scenes. Like you'll never see a create like this. Well, you can if you want to, but it's not gonna be there. It's gonna happen behind the scenes. The first thing is gonna be instantiation. Next, it's gonna run the creation, the create method, and then it's gonna go to edits. Okay, or you can do details. You can tell wherever you want it to be. Like I'm gonna make it edit. Okay, I'll change it later, but for now, it's gonna go to the edit method. Okay, so for that purpose, I need to redirect to the edit. So I'm gonna do edit underscore pets underscore, and you're probably thinking, well, how do you know what's edit pets path? Well, do array grounds. The minute we created the Rails generated controller update, new create, edit, update, show, it created all the views and it created all the paths. And this is called edit pets path. Literally, edit pets path. Oh no, it should always be plural, singular. Edit pet path. Pets path. Edit pet path actually. It's a pet. Okay, so edit pet path. So after if it's saved, you gotta go to step 2, so you can eventually publish it. Okay, and you might think, oh man, like what's going on? Well, you're back here. Let's come back here. You click here, you add your pet name, blah blah blah. Add the pet name. You click here, and it takes you. First we're in new. You click here, and then it takes you to edit. And then in the edit, you're gonna see a bunch of different fields. Like edit the description, upload the photos, select the vaccination, la 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 la. And then it's gonna be at the very bottom, save, publish your pet. That's it. Okay. So we have to redirect to edit pet path. All right, and then, but first we need to actually add the add pet. We need to add the pass in the pet. We need to pass this. We need to pass this current user pets build params because we want to get all the fields in the edit that we've already added. Okay, and we also want to say a notice as well. We want to do a notice, and we want to say something like great. I don't know, great. Continue to the next step, like great. Please continue to the continue filling out the remaining. That's gonna be the remaining fields. Okay, that's just gonna yeah. All right, so that's that. So I'm just gonna remove this white space. Else, okay, what's gonna be the else? Let's do a flash flash to alert equals to something like or oops, something does not seem right. All right, so and then after that, if there's something wrong, and then you want to render new. You want to render, taking back to instantiation, taking back to the new page, to the new view. Okay, taking back to this instantiation part. So he'll try to create as soon as so he is going to be in the instantiation process from the start. But if something goes wrong and doesn't work, he's going to run the create action, and something goes wrong, it's going to bring him back to new, which we can say request refer. But that's fine. We can just render new. That's. I think it's better. But anyway, all right. So here we go. I'm just removing the white space. So we have a create method. We have our variable, if else statement, bang. All right. So once all that happens, we're gonna be fine. Okay. We got our category here. We named it category.all because we were not in the category controller, so we have to, in the instantiation process, make sure, hey, get the categories of the category table. And so after that, we're pretty much good to go. But even like once we go to the edit, it's still going to be valid. This is all going to be fine, but the categories is not. The categories is not going to be valid. It's not going to be valid because it's not the categories controller. So let's grab this, copy that, come back here, and put it inside the edit here. And then that way, when we are in the edit page, this is going to be perfectly valid. It's going to be no problem. And one last thing, I want to make sure over here that I am going to use these two methods, okay? Because first of all, the set pet, okay, this set pet method, okay, the set pet method, the reason why we have a set pet method is I want to be able to run it for everything except the new and create. Okay, so when you create, when you're a user, whatever, your name is John, and you want to create a new pet, you want to add a new pet. Okay, you log in and you want to add a new pet. I don't really care for knowing to get the pet parameters to go. I don't really care about going to the pet table, finding the params ID of the pet. I don't care because I'm creating a new pet. This is just to be used later on for checking, if for checking that, yeah, I don't care about this. I really don't care because all I'm doing is my name is James, my name is Mark, my name is Carlos, my name is Maria, whatever. All I want to do is I want to create a pet. I want to just run these two actions, the new and create. Okay, so I want to make sure that I say before action, run this set pet. So before action, I want to run this method except for the new and create. Because if I'm creating, I don't really need this. I don't need to know this variable. Okay? You see what I'm saying? I don't need to know. I don't need to find the pet parameters. Okay, I don't need to do that because I'm creating something new. I'm not editing. Okay, so I'm gonna do before action, copy that. All right. Except all right, so we said new, and we're also gonna do a new and create. We don't need it. Okay, so run it all the time except for new and create. Okay, so before action, run. Oh no, set pet here. I don't even need that. Hang on. Before action, set underscore pet. Okay, before action, set pet except for new and create. All right. And then the next thing I want to do too. Another thing I want to do. This not authorized. This not authorized should only be running only if I want to edit. Okay? Only if I want to edit. Only if I want to update. Only if I want to edit. Like if I want to update Fluffy, okay, and I'm James and I want to update Fluffy, well, I better be that owner. because here I'm checking the current user is the owner of that pet. Okay, so I should only run this not authorized to check if this not authorized method. I should only run it if I want to update or if I want to edit Fluffy. Okay, so I want to say again before action. What is it? Not auth, not underscore auth. Okay, only, not except, only for only for update and edit. Only for these two. I only want to run this method only for these two actions. All right, so save everything. This should be fine. And let's go to the views now. When I come to the views, close the controllers, close the models. We don't need the models for now. Now, and let's come to the views. Okay, come to the views. Under pets inside, let's go to the new method. Okay, now inside the new method, I'm going to add a bunch of HTML. Please just follow along. And this is not an HTML course. And for that purpose, please bear with me. I'm going to go as fast as I can because I've already actually done this before now. And this is not about HTML. This is just purely about programming. But you can always pause the video and just follow me because right now it's just going to be HTML. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a section, and inside that section, I'm going to split that section into two. So I'm going to put a row, and I'm going to split the left row. So I'm going to put a column on the left and a column on the right. Okay, a column on the left is going to be like information, and a column on the right is going to be the fields for the that we added inside our table pets, which is it's going to be here. All these fields here. Okay, the title active is space blah blah blah. All right, so here, so we're gonna do a section. I'm gonna do a section here with autocomplete, and inside that section, I'm gonna give it a class. Class equals to padding y py. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say like 4 or 5. Okay, and inside of there, I'm gonna do a container, just like this is basic Bootstrap. And inside the container, I'm gonna put a row. So I'm gonna do a div.row, a row class, and inside the row class, I'm gonna do 2 divs. So div.call dash, I don't know. Yeah, we said 5. Div.call.5, large 5, when it's large to be 5. I guess. And inside of that, I'm going to add a bunch of stuff. Like I'm going to do maybe let's do an H1 first. Okay, an H1 with like, hey, let's do this. Let's do this, and on top of that, I'm gonna do a p tag, and inside I'm gonna do like add a pet for adoption, like a subtitle. Okay, so add a pet for adoption, like that. And I need to race through this because this can't be more than an hour. Another thing we're gonna do, we're gonna add a div here. We can style it later, and inside of that div, I'm gonna put another information. I'm gonna say like blah blah blah, blah blah blah, like that. So just do this, copy, paste, 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 paste. And over here on the view, I'm going to say just toggle word wrap. Okay, so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to copy this. So it's going to be 2 paragraphs. This is going to be on the left side. So now we are done with this, but you know, let me just add a text muted here. Class equals text dash muted. This is from Bootstrap. And I'm going to do the same thing for the next paragraph, like that. And of course, the H1, I'm going to put some class here on the H1. Probably need to put a margin bottom. So class equals to MB dash, I don't know, 3 or something. And then here too, I need to put a class margin bottom 3. All right. Like that. Okay, so I probably need to style. I'm going to call this subtitle. I'm going to call subtitle. I'm going to just name this as a class. And over here, I'm going to style the H1. I'm going to call it, I don't know, I guess, whatever. whatever. I'm going to call it hello for now, and then we'll name it later. Okay, so there we have that left column. Now we want to do the right column. So that is the left column. Okay, so let's do something like this. Okay, a comment, left column. Okay, column, and this ends right here. And I'm going to copy this and follow this column 5. And then I'm going to say right column. Now underneath here, okay, so we need to do another column. So the remaining is 7. So it comes by 12 columns. 12 minus 5 is 7. So div dot col dash large dash 7. Okay, and inside of here now I'm gonna add a bunch of like a form group row. I'm gonna do a div dot form dash group dash row. All right, and after that, and by the way, you can also go to my GitHub and find this commit here, and you can copy all this HTML. Okay, so you don't have to do it. I'm adding a row here because I'll tell you why. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm gonna add another div here and do a left margin, right, because if we don't have margins, it's gonna be like to the far left or to the far right, or we're gonna have to say float left or float right. So I'm just gonna do the margin right auto margin left. So div dot mr margin right dash auto and margin left dash auto, and maybe align dash items dash center. And also I'm gonna do I'm gonna make this a column too because it's inside a row. Okay, I'm gonna do a call dash, oh boy, I guess dash 8, call dash 8, call large dash 8. I'll tell you why. I hope this works. Anyway, so like this. And inside of that, that's when I'm going to do the form. Now, I'm not going to do HTML form because I can easily show you in Bootstrap how to go get a form. You know how to get it. Like we all know how to get it. You just click on forms, docs, forms, and then copy paste. So I'm going to do straight into the embedded Ruby. So I'm going to do a form 4. And we're not going to do remote true. We don't need any of that, but we do need to set the pet. Okay, so we obviously working with a pet model, so we have to say form 4 at pet. Okay, so at pet, and I'm gonna maybe add some HTML, but maybe not. Pet to f. That's just enough. We don't need to add any HTML. I mean, any classes. Yeah, we don't need to do that. But if you did want to do it, you want to say HTML like this, and then you want to add whatever classes you want to add in here. Class blah blah blah. Okay, so I'm not gonna add any because we don't need it. The form is enough, and we also have to do. Let's do it now. It's our final test. I'm gonna do a label. Inside, I'm gonna forget the 4. We don't need a 4. Pet name. I'm gonna do a pet name, and under the label, I'm gonna do the text field, and it's f.text field. So like that. So f.text underscore field, and this is going to be the title. Okay, that's our attribute that we added. Okay, so it's going to be the title, and we're also permitted to do whatever we want to do. Autocomplete. I'm going to say title. We don't need to do this, but I'm going to add it anyway. It's good practice. Autocomplete is title, and we need to add a class form from that's a Bootstrap class form dash control. And the last thing we need to do is we need to make sure it's required. That's part of Bootstrap. Required is true, and Bootstrap will give an error if you don't select it. Okay, I'm just taking out the white space. Okay, the form starts here, it ends there. We're gonna need a button. We need a button. So let's do an f.submit. So do an f.submit. F.submit and give it a class. Yeah, I guess we can give it a class of. Oh, actually, no. Hang on. I don't know, something like save, and continue, like that. Oops. Yeah, f.submit, save and continue, and then we're gonna put a class. I don't know. I forget. It's btn, and btn dash primary. Okay, that should be enough. And that's inside the form. Okay, so I'm gonna do this here so you see a little bit better the label, pet name. Okay, now this is valid. This should work. There should be no problems, no issues. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Okay, save, Command S, and I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna go to pets new. Okay, I'm logged in. So before action, authenticate user, I'm logged in, and I'm logged in. Look, pets new. Oh, we need to run the server. Rails S. So as soon as I hit pets new, it's gonna say, hey, you're authenticated. Okay, and then because right, except for the show, so it's gonna say, hey, you're authenticated. It's gonna run the set. It's not gonna run the set pet because it's doing new, and it's also not gonna run not auth because I'm not updating and I'm not editing. So pets new, come here, and arguments, target method arguments block. Did you mean authenticate user? Yes, I meant authenticate user. Copy that. Authenticate. I used wrong. Authenticate, which is bad. It's authenticate. Authenticate. So save that. Come back here. Refresh. And what is this? No method error for pets new. Oh right. Okay. Okay, I know why, because it's saying, look, it's this is the wrong path. It's like it's not recognizing the path. So let's come back here. Remember when I said that when you create a controller with a bunch of actions, well, guess what? The if you go to the routes gets configured. If you click on config earlier, I talked about this. So Rails automatically added get pets new, get pets create, get pet edit, and show. So what you want to do is actually delete all that. You want to just delete that, come over here, anywhere actually, it's fine. But you want to do resources do, resources pets actually. Resources, you can find that in right here. If you click here and you come to Rails guides and just do routing, okay, Command F and you do routing, routing, inside, outside, whatever it is, just click on routing. But this, yeah, and you'll see resources, Command F, resources, there, okay? This is it. Like, for example, resources, and we're gonna use pets, okay? So we don't need to resources, and we're gonna use pets like that. Save that, that's all you need to do. Is it resources? Yeah, in the plural. Okay, come here and then refresh. But of course, if we updated the router, you should, oh, it works. But hey, if it doesn't work for you, just make sure this is resources pets and make sure you stop the server and start the server. For me, it worked. Hey, look at this, guys, look, this is awesome. This is amazing. And of course, I need to put a margin top, margin bottom. So let's come back to the new. And let's just, I'm gonna just remove this. This is too much crap, like it's just, I think that's enough like that. And I'm gonna put this is here, submit MB margin top. So margin top dash 3 MT3, save it, come over here, refresh. Okay, so let's do this. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm also gonna remove this backgrounds. I think it's in assets, style sheets, and I call it bg.css. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna comment this, command question mark to comment it, okay? So in PC, it would be control question mark. I held the command and question mark to comment. I want to comment the CSS code. That way it doesn't work, okay? So I'm going to come back here, refresh this, and it should remove the background for me. Now, pets new, why is this here? I'm going to close bg.scss. I'm inside of here. Oh, right. So this here, remove this. The first two things, pets new and find me at this. Remove that. Refresh. Save it. Come back here. Okay, so we have it here. Let's do this. Let's do this. And look, we are going to start styling this, but I just want to do one thing first. Now, remember, this is about the controller and about the actions, okay, and the view, all right? we're working with a pet model. We're in pets new, and what we're running right now in the pets controller, we're literally doing this. It's instantiating. Instantiating, it's a getter method. Instantiation, you're getting stuff. We're getting, and the minute we're getting, now I can fill out this field and I can call my pet Fluffy, okay? Fluffy, okay? And I'm gonna click save and continue. Look what happens. The minute I click save and continue, if save, it's gonna run this. It's gonna say if save, redirect to edit path, okay? Or alert something went wrong. And let's hope it does redirect us to the edit path. Oh, something went wrong. Okay, oops, something does not seem right. New is not an active model compatible object. It must implement the partial path. Okay. All right, no problem. All right, let's just remove this, remove this one. Save it. Of course, nothing was created. Let's just go back. Don't refresh now because you're in the pets. You need to go back to pets new. Okay, hit the pets new, refresh it, and type in Fluffy. Save and continue. Okay, very good. Oops, something does not seem right, and it took me to. It just left me there. See, it needs to. It needs to take me back to new. But why is new? What is wrong with new? Like, I mean, we already did this correctly. In the new, we have this current user.pets build. We have this correct, and the category is all at category. That's correct. So why wouldn't this work in the creation process? This should be this render new should. Oh, hang on a second. Command Z. Okay, I know why, because I shouldn't have done this like that. I need to remove these braces, these brace brackets. So it's render new. Okay, and then Command S to save it. Come back here. Let's go back to pets new. Make sure it's pets new. Refresh it. Oops, something went wrong. Yes, I know. Okay, that's previously. Now, it's still running the same thing. Now, Fluffy was not created yet. Trust me. If you come to pgadmin, click on servers, or you can go to Postico, you will notice inside the tables of pets, view all rows. Right click and view all rows. You're gonna notice there is no Fluffy. Okay, there is no Fluffy in there. And same with Postico. If you're using Postico, you're in pets, you want to refresh, there is no Fluffy. There's no dog, there's no pet created there. So you want to come back to Visual Studio. We changed this render new. I had a big crazy typo there. Okay, save it. Make sure you save it. You don't need to restart the server. Just come to pets new and hit enter again. And I'm going to type in Fluffy and click save and continue. Oops, why? Why is this not working? Okay, so we have if pet.save. There's nothing wrong with this. Edit pet path. Oh, man. And we're passing it the pet. So add pet current user pets build. This is correct. The instantiation is correct. Add categories category.all. If pet.save redirect to edit. What's wrong with that? Edit pet path. Notice great, but flash, oops, something does not seem right. Render new. Title, pet description, active, category ID. All right, so let's look again. Let's try it again. Let's refresh here. Let's add Fluffy, save and continue. We've done everything right. We have an instantiation, def new, add pet current user.pets.build. Here we have variable current user.pets. Did I make pet params? If pet saved, redirect to edit pet path. And this is correct. Redirect to edit pet path. And then we pass it the pet, that variable. Oh, so maybe it's in the edit that we need to add this. No, we're already in the pets controller. So I have no idea why this isn't working. I guess I'm gonna have to pause the video and find out. But at the set pet equals pet, this is correct. They redirect to root path. That's unless current user. And then params require. Oh, okay, I'm gonna be right back. Oops. All right, so I can't really find any problem with this. I don't know why, but what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna stop the server and restart the server. So Control C, no Rails S. I don't know, but it's not like I don't know. It's just it seems like everything seems to be correct here. There isn't a reason why this shouldn't work. We have here accept show, accept new and create, only edit update, and it's correct. But we restarted the server, so let's come back to pets / again to new. Okay, so we are in pets / new. We reloaded, we restarted the server, and I'm gonna do I don't know, fuzzy. Okay, I'm gonna say fuzzy, save and continue, and again, it's giving me that error. It's giving me that error. Oh my gosh! So you know what? I'm just thinking that the routes, as I saw here, the routes. I never saved the routes here. I never saved resources routes. So I'm not sure why this happened because here it says one unsaved. So which one is the one that's unsaved? Oh, all right. So the new. Okay, so save the new. Command S to save and pets controller. Okay, so it was the pets controller. Come back here, refresh. No, I have to go to pets new. Okay, so fuzzy, close that. Again, I'm getting the same error. Perhaps come back to the routes.rb and we have resources. All right, so obviously this is, anyway, resources pets do. We're gonna have to add, we're definitely gonna have to add a bunch of other, not now because we're not using the upload, we're not yet, so I don't know, but Control C to stop the server, Rails S, and I really hope this works because I don't know how, I mean, this here seems, everything here is right. We have the form for pet, pet controller. You know what? Let's just have a look, one more try, and then I'm gonna pause the video and let's do new, and then put Fluffy again because obviously Fluffy was never created. Save and continue, and it's not working. So I'm gonna pause the video. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, guys. So I figured out the problem. What I'm gonna do is I just want to show you guys also how to check this out for yourselves. So you can debug. So there's a problem here, and the problem is actually right over here. It's not in the routes. It's right here. We can just debug it by doing a redirect. We can do a redirect to, and instead of saying what we said earlier, so I erased that, and I'm just gonna put the full error so that we can know what exactly happened. You know what I mean? Otherwise, if we just continue doing what we're doing, we're never going to know the problem because it's just going to flash message with our information, with our text. So, of course, in development mode, we can do this, but we're going to change it. So we're going to do a request, request.refer. I think it's double R, refer. So we're going to do a request refer, and we're going to do a flash. Flash. And we're gonna add in a curly brace, we're gonna add the errors. Actually, no, it's an error. Error at pet.errors.full messages. So it's a good practice to always do this. So I was wrong to do it like differently. So I'm gonna do a save now. Come back over here and let's just try this again like that. Pets new, and I'm gonna type in fluffy or fuzzy, save and continue, and you see here it says pause the video. Category does not exist, and the reason why the category doesn't exist is because we never added the category inside the view. So what happens is Rails like creates this and it says, well, how can I create it? Because inside the pets table, the pet belongs to the user and to the categories. So it can never be created if there is no ID over here for the categories. So that means that and we did this correctly because in the new, we actually did add the categories in the instantiation process. So we need to come here and this is a little bit more advanced, but I mean, I have to do it now. I have no option because I wanted to do this to cover it in the next video, but I'm gonna cover it in this video so that way you guys can see how it's done, because it says selection. So we have to grab all the categories, use the option for select from Rails, and that's what I'm gonna do. So inside the form above the submit button, which is basically in the pets new, we're gonna add here the category because the category has to exist. And we have to validate this inside of the model as well. But we won't do the validation now, but let's just do it like that. So over here, what we want to do is we want to add another form group. No, because here we have the form and we have the form control right here. So I guess, yeah, I suppose we can do, I'm going to wrap this inside a form group. Okay, so I'm going to do a div.form-group like that, and I'm going to wrap this inside the form group, and I'm going to indent this here so it can look better and remove the white spacing. And I'm going to add another form group underneath it. I'm going to just close this div. And inside, we are going to do something. And it's not really the easiest thing to do, but I'm going to just follow me. And this is how you do it for all the selections when you have a drop down for select. So it's basically a select with HTML. And I'm not going to do this with Bootstrap. Obviously, I'm going to use Bootstrap, but I'm going to do it with embedded Ruby right now. So first, I'm going to put a label just like we did above. And inside the label, I'm going to say choose a category, category. Choose category. And under the label, I'm going to do f select. So I'm just going to put an f select and f dot select. I'm going to use options for select f dot because it is a selection. This is just for the view, right? F select, and I'm going to use the Rails helper options for select. So we're going to do the same thing as here for the title, right? But the only difference is I'm going to put it inside the brackets so that we can, this isn't so simple, but once you learn it once, you should just remember it and memorize it and do it enough so you can remember it all the time. So here we're going to do a category underscore ID, because we need to say like to whom this category the pet belongs to. So the user has to be able to select the category, and it has to be only one. So here I'm going to use the helper. So options underscore for underscore select. Options for select. Okay, and in the options for select, I'm going to add the categories model. Okay, add the categories. That what we did here in the pet controller, categories equals categories.all. So that's what I'm grabbing here. Copy that, this categories, and just paste it here. So categories. And then what we need to do is we need to map through all the names inside the category. Because right now we actually don't have anything. We just have name, but we're going to seed the database. We are going to seed the database. So we're going to do a map, and we want to grab basically, actually we don't need to do that. Yeah, we're going to grab, yeah, so we're going to do a loop. So let me do this. I'm going to do a C for category so that that's just easier to You can do X if you want, and then c.name, because that's the name of our right here of our field. It's a name. Okay, so and then we want to loop through. We want to loop. So we're going to do a c.name and a c.id as well, because it's going to go. So it's going to go through every single one of them and give them an ID as well. All right. And after that, yeah, that should be it. And we want to wrap this. Actually, you want to wrap that in a brace, not a brace, a bracket. Okay, just like that. So now what we want to do, this is a bit, I've had some troubles in the past, and it's not something that's easily rememberable, but if you do it enough again, you'll remember it. We want to do a selected, because, well, not exactly, yeah, you want to do a selected, but in the edit view, we're going to do it a little differently. But here, we want to say that, hey, choose a category, because I'll do it after, okay? I'll do it after so you see what I'm talking about. So for now, I'm not going to do selected. But after the, so what you want to do is here. So we have this options for select, okay? So this options for select ends right here, okay? So after that, you want to add a wrapper, okay? So let me make this a little smaller. So you want to add a wrapper, and so you're gonna put another curly brace and put in a wrapper like this, and inside that wrapper you want to give it make it empty, another curly brace, okay, and right, yeah, that's right. Just leave it like that, okay. And after that, you want to do another curly brace. Sorry, another curly brace, and in there you want to add a class. You want to add a class, and I'm going to add the custom select from Bootstrap. Okay, that's the one I got from Bootstrap. So I'm going to do custom dash select. But Bootstrap always has this custom select. All right. So let's see, view. Let's do the view here and do toggle word wrap. Okay. Okay, so we have the class custom for select, and we want to add, I'm going to add a margin bottom, margin bottom -3. Let me just do the view here again, view toggle word wrap. Oops, all right, so view toggle word wrap again. So let's just see it like that. So after the class, there's also going to be like a lot of things like data style, tab index. If it doesn't work, we can add that. But I think for now, this should work. Okay, this is going to work, and let's see if it works or not. Okay, let's do a save. So now you see how it's done. You can do the same thing. Okay, so I hope, so after, yeah, so after the options for select, it starts, the option for select starts here, and it wraps it. We pass in the option for select, and then put a comma, and make sure you put a wrapper with an empty array, and put a comma, and then the class, and then the final bracket here ends from the start of select. Okay, so save it and come back over here, and let's just hit new. Okay, very good. So now this looks a lot nicer, and it won't look ugly or anything like that. So you can select a category, but we don't have a category because nothing is, but you remember when I said to you, you have to choose something? There should be something in here that says choose. So come back over here, and what I want you to do is after this brace right here, after the brace, after that, after the loop, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a comma in there and put selected, and we're gonna say that we're gonna say choose something. I don't know, choose choose one. I'm gonna say choose one. Okay. Right. So save it. Come back here and refresh. And I guess it's not working. Well, it's all right. We should have this should work here. but I guess it's not working, and I don't know why it's not working, but it really sucks, to be honest. I never really get this ever right, but save. I wasn't prepared for this in this video. All right, so let's just leave that empty for now, but at least we know that it's looping through an empty array right now. So we're going to leave that as is, like that. Just save it. I want you to learn how to see the database. So we are going to, I want you to close everything, not close, just minimize everything here, all the controllers, assets. I want you to go to config and go to DB. Okay, you're gonna find a file that's naturally there. It's called seeds.rb. So click on seeds.rb. So now what we want to do is we want to seed the database here. If you click on categories, like if you're back to here, click on the categories, and you'll see here the name. We want to add a bunch of categories inside the name. Okay, in the categories table. So it's gonna be like, so I'm gonna just basically put all the categories in here, and then we're gonna run Rails DB seed. Okay, so we're gonna do a category. So go to the category table and do a create. Okay, and then pass in the name. That's our attribute, the name that we have in our table. That's the column, and I'm gonna make it equal to cats. All right. So now, from now on, it's just all copy and paste. That's all you need to do. And category, copy it like this, and then paste, 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 and paste. So here I'm going to say dogs. Actually, I'm going to say cat category, dog category, bird category. Okay, and then we got the rabbits. I believe rabbits is 1B. Rabbits and guinea pigs, and I think reptiles. There might be other categories, but we can always add them later. Okay, so reptiles, just like that. So once you got all that done, just make sure everything is correct. Okay, and just save it. Do Command S to save, and then come here, stop the server, Control C, and type in Rails DB seed. So that should seed your database with no problems at all. If you do get problems, just see what the problems are and resolve them accordingly. Okay, so now it's been seeded. Let's open the open Postico or open pgadmin and just refresh this here. Okay, there you go. So you have we have bird, cat, dog, guinea pigs, reptiles, and rabbits. Okay, so now that we have that, do a Rails S to start the server, and we're gonna go back to pets/new. Okay, this probably hasn't loaded yet, but let's see. Pets new. It's gonna take some time to load. Okay, there we go. So we got choose category says cat. So that's really good that we have it, and I'm really glad that. So now we can do fuzzy. We're gonna just use fluffy again. Before we do that, you can come back here to the tables and you click on pets. There's nothing right now. You can refresh this. There's nothing in here. So if you choose fluffy, and I'm going to say fluffy is a dog, and I'm going to say save and continue. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So now, great. Continue filling out all the fields. So we have it. So as you can see here, we have pets, the number one edit. Come back to Postico, and if you refresh this over here, you'll notice that we put the title, and that's, remember, we ran right now what we did in the pets controller. We ran the this here, and then we also ran that. Okay, so now we don't need to add this redirect request referrer. We actually don't need to add that. Why? Reason why is because we found out what the problem is. Okay, so for now, I'm gonna do a flash. I'm gonna come back to what we did before. We're gonna do a flash, and here we're gonna do an alert. Oh, well, I'm gonna add an alert, and we want to make that equal to oops, something went wrong or something like that. Oops, I don't know, something does not seem, I don't know, seem right. Okay, and then we are after that. So this is in the else, right? Render back, take them back to new. Okay, so let's test it again. So now we have pet ID number 1. If we come back again here to new, hit new again, we can do the same thing. Now, what I wanted to do here is I wanted to, I just wanted to basically just make sure I put a selected equals choose one, but it doesn't seem to allow me to do that. So I'm wondering what other options I have. It seems like I don't have any options right now, but let's just try it again. And maybe since we seeded the database, we can add something. So let's come back here and do selected, and then say something like choose one. Oops. Okay, we're here. Choose one. Okay, I'm gonna save this now. Okay, so selected, choose one. This should be right. Okay, I'm gonna save it. Come here, refresh, and again, it's still selecting cat. So I'm not sure how to do this, but I suppose maybe grab it here, cut it, and let's put it. There's options for select. Let's put it. I don't think it's gonna be here. Let's try it. Save it. Come here, and that's gonna give an error. Yeah, of course. Command Z. And then let's see the class. Maybe it will work here. Selected. That selected should work. Selected. Okay, save it. Refresh here. Okay, it's not working. We'll figure it out later. So let's just remove this here. Let's make sure we just leave the class. It's kind of weird how this works out. I don't know. It's I never get it right, like I said, but we'll figure it out later. I'll research it later. Okay, so save it again. Just make sure you come back here. Nothing is broken. So pet name, let's choose Fluffy, I don't know, or Nina. Let's say Nina is a rabbit, and save and continue. Okay, great. Please continue filling out the remaining fields. So now here in the edit page, we're gonna have to continue filling out the fields. That means that we have to come back here in the edit, because remember, in the pets controller, we ran this, and since we ran this, it says if saved, redirect to edit pet path. So the edit pet path is gonna be here. And sure enough here, now we can open the view, come back to the view, pets, and click on edit. And on part B, part 18B, you're gonna start editing the edit page, okay? All right, guys, I'll see you guys in part, let's just first, I'll see you guys in part 18B, okay? So we can work on the edit page. I'm gonna push this to Bitbucket, so Control C, git add space period, and then I'm gonna do a git commit dash m for message, and say completed the pets controller, completed the following controllers, the pets controller categories controller. What else did we do? So pets controller, categories controller, whoops. Categories controller, and the costs. No, what am I doing? I'm so tired. Completed the pets controller. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. With all the actions, and completed the new, I guess the new page, the new view. Okay, parts, and I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna say part 18b. I'm so tired. Okay, I'm so tired. Part 18 dash B. Okay, no, A. Part 18a. All right, part 18a. Put a space, and then like that. So see, I'm so tired I can't even type. Like that's why you always have to rest, and I haven't really rested. Part 18b, 18a. Okay, so I've pushed. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a git push now. Git push. Okay, very good. So I'll see you guys in part 18b, where we're gonna work on the edit, and part 18c, we're gonna work on the photo upload process. All right. See you guys. Thanks.